In New Orleans, on the night of May 16th, a group of FBI agents, led by Special Agent George Aiken and Ray Santiago, are watching a street closely for a dangerous international terrorist named Miles Jackson. They're using special software to recognize faces among the people passing by. Eventually, they spot him. Aiken and Santiago then talk to one of Miles' associates, Samuel, who is reluctantly helping them in exchange for his brother Joshua's freedom. Meanwhile, Officer Danny Fisher and his girlfriend, Molly Porter, are at their new house. Danny is getting ready to leave and looks for his badge while sneakily giving some noodles to his dog. After Molly points out where his badge is, she tells him to stay safe. Danny heads out and meets his partner, Officer Hank Carver, who's waiting for him in their patrol car. They drive off together. Danny and Hank, who are best friends, chat about Danny moving in with Molly. Hank thinks Danny will propose soon, but Danny just laughs it off. They receive a message from dispatch asking for their help with an FBI operation. The FBI observes as Miles calls Sam on his cell phone, but they can't listen in because Miles always uses encrypted phones. Sam informs Miles that he's on his way and bringing the weapons for their exchange. Special Agent Aiken eagerly waits for their arrival. Miles arrives at the meeting spot in a taxi and approaches Sam. As they begin discussing business, Sam suddenly turns on Miles, revealing the FBI's plan to arrest him. He shoots Miles in the stomach and orders his men to take Miles to a waiting van. Before leaving, Sam taunts the FBI's surveillance cameras, demanding they release his brother in exchange for Miles. He then gets into the van with Miles, and they drive away. It turns out that Sam and Miles are actually working together, and Miles was wearing Kevlar when shot by Sam. Sam pays Miles for helping his brother escape. However, Miles betrays Sam and fatally stabs him because he would have abandoned him if his brother hadn't escaped. They arrive at their next meeting point, where Miles' girlfriend, Erica Kesson, is waiting. Miles shows Erica the briefcase given to him by Sam, which is filled with diamonds. They then get into a car and drive away together. Danny and Hank, en route to assist the FBI, review Miles' criminal record and surveillance footage, including one showing him dancing with Erica. At a traffic light, Danny spots Erica in her car and instructs Hank to follow her. They pull her over, and Hank approaches her car to check her license and registration. Erica flirts with Hank, who reciprocates. Meanwhile, Danny stands behind the car and instructs her to open the trunk. Suddenly, Miles emerges from the trunk and starts shooting at the officers, hitting Hank in the buttocks. Erica drives away while Danny checks on Hank before chasing after Erica on foot. Spotting Erica's car approaching, he pushes a parked boat into their path, causing them to crash. Danny picks up Miles' gun and points it at him. Erica attempts to flee but gets struck by an oncoming SUV and dies. Miles, shocked and enraged, warns Danny that he won't forget him. As backup arrives, Danny keeps Miles at bay while feeling saddened by Erica's death. A year later, Danny and Hank, now promoted to detectives, blow off some steam at a pool parlor. Danny still feels sad about Erica's death. He heads home. At home, he wakes up to find Molly getting ready for her night shift as a nurse. There's water all over the bathroom floor because of a broken pipe. Molly feels hopeless. She called Phil, the plumber. Phil arrives and says Danny should have fixed the pipe earlier. Danny admits he was trying to save money. Molly seems a bit upset, but Danny reassures her and she leaves for work. Just then, Danny's phone rings. It's Miles Jackson. He says he's escaped from jail and is back for revenge, and he is nearby. Danny grabs his badge and gun, rushes out, searching for Miles. Miles claims Danny's girlfriend's death was no accident. Danny disagrees. Suddenly, Danny's car and house explode, throwing him down. When he gets up, Miles says it's their anniversary, the day Danny bested him. Now he wants a rematch. The house, the car, and poor Phil were round one. Miles threatens to take something irreplaceable, just like Danny did to him. He challenges Danny to stop him. Danny gives his dog to neighbors and heads for the ferry station where Molly is. Molly gets on the ferry. Miles' henchman, Anthony DeLusso, approaches her and asks if he can use her cell phone to call his daughter. She obliges. He keeps the phone busy, preventing Danny from getting through. Danny reaches the station a little too late. He tries to yell out to her, but is drowned out by the ferry. Seeing the ferry name, Thomas Jefferson, he commandeers a car and speeds off towards the other side. On his way over the bridge, he calls Hank and tells him that Miles Jackson escaped from prison and is trying to take Molly. He needs him to call the Department of Transportation and have the ferry stopped at the station, or he might lose Molly. Arriving at the other side, Danny rushes inside and orders security to close the station. Hank and backup show up, but it's too late. Molly's gone. Danny dials her phone. Miles picks up. He has Molly captive in his car. Round 2 is over. The game consists of 12 rounds. If Danny follows Miles' instructions and survives all 12 rounds, Molly will be released. Round 3 begins. Miles will call a cell phone in 15 minutes. Danny must go to the place where they first met and locate the phone. Miles disconnects and throws away the phone. Danny and Hank head to where they stopped Erica's car a year ago. They find graffiti with the date and coordinates. It's the firehouse where Danny's brother Dave works. Danny calls Dave and tells him to evacuate, suspecting a bomb. Dave clears out the firehouse. Danny and Hank arrive. Danny tells the firefighters to get their phones ready. When time's up, a phone rings in a nearby store. Danny rushes in and picks it up. Miles praises him, granting extra time for round 4. The fire alarm signals the start of round 4. Round 4 begins. Miles claims a fire has erupted at the New Orleans Savings and Loan. Danny must rush there and retrieve 2 security deposit boxes from the top floor. Their numbers stored in the phone he's holding. He has 20 minutes. Suddenly, the FBI arrives. Special agents Aiken and Santiago question Danny about Miles Jackson. Danny is furious that Miles escaped and the feds didn't inform him. Aiken insists he cooperate if he wants Molly back. Reluctantly, Danny joins Aiken and Santiago, while Dave and the firefighters drive off in their trucks. Arriving at the fire, Danny rushes in with Dave and the others. Danny and Dave search through the smoke-filled corridors for the security boxes. They locate them, but both have timers ticking down, less than 7 minutes left. Miles calls, announcing round 5 has begun. Round 5 begins. One of the boxes contains bomb, while the other holds a clue for the next round. Danny must reach the Nichols Street wharf in under 7 minutes. If he's late, the bomb detonates. With time running out, Miles suggests using a fire truck. With only 6 minutes left and a long way down, Danny opts to exit through the window. Spotting a large cable spool, he instructs Dave to anchor one end while he throws the rest out the window. Carrying the boxes in a bag, he descends the cable. When he runs out of cable and still has some distance to cover, he releases and crashes through scaffolding, shocking bystanders. Quickly recovering, he commandeers a fire truck and speeds through New Orleans, causing damage along the way. With less than 20 seconds left, he arrives at the wharf's edge. Miles calls, declaring him too late. Danny braces for the bomb, but a bell rings from inside one box. Recognizing it as the bomb, Danny tosses it into the water, where it safely detonates. This marks the start of the next round. Round 6 starts. From atop the Hotel Monteleone, Miles watches Danny standing near the fire truck as the cops and feds approach. Danny demands to talk to Molly, but Miles promises him that he will show her to him. He tells him that the other box contains the clue. The box is handed over to the bomb squad, who saw it open and declare it clear. The feds give Danny a new cell phone, through which they can track him and the calls. The clue in the box is a room keycard for the Hotel Monteleone. Cops, feds, and SWAT rush into the hotel. They raid the room and find it empty. To his anguish, Danny finds a couple of Polaroids of a gagged and bound Molly. The feds look at the security camera footage and see Miles holding a sheet of paper up, which reads, "We are still here." They see him talking with a heavy-set man, named Willie Demain. Danny goes to speak to Willie about Miles. Willie shows him where they went. They took an old elevator to the roof. Danny and Willie get on the elevator. As they ascend, a small charge fixed to the elevator motor goes off, stopping the elevator. Danny sees his cell phone has no signal there. He tries to get the elevator service phone, but finds a small laptop there instead. He opens it and sees a video of Molly tearfully reading off a sheet of paper as Miles stands nearby. She says that, at the conclusion of the message, they have 60 seconds to get off the elevator before it free falls to the bottom. She says the next clue is inside the lobby. The video ends and a timer starts counting down from 60 seconds. Danny struggles to pull Willie through a service hatch, his size making it a Herculean effort. With time running out, the bomb atop the elevator detonates, sending it and Willie plummeting as Danny watches in horror. Round 7 begins. Miles calls again, revealing the next clue is in the hotel lobby, a picture of a solitary man. Danny searches and finds the picture, with Claiborne and Toulouse written on a post-it on the back. The phone rings. Santiago advises against answering, but Aiken insists. Danny picks up. Miles orders him to be alone at Claiborne and Toulouse in 10 minutes for a 50-50 chance of having the time of his life. At Claiborne and Toulouse, Danny waits anxiously. He sees a bus pull up, bus number 5050. Realizing that's what Miles meant, he gets on. To his bemusement, he finds Molly on board, shaken and scared. He sees she's wearing a bomb underneath her jacket. Sitting nearby is Miles, who tells them to sit. He goes over to Danny and pulls out the wire he's wearing. However, the feds hear his voice and realize he's on the bus. Aiken orders a strike team to prepare an assault. In the bus, Miles handcuffs Danny to a bar. He shows Danny his PDA, on which he's pressing his thumb. If his thumb goes off the screen, 10 seconds later, a small charge sends a nail into Molly's heart, killing her, and 30 seconds later, the bomb explodes. He gives Danny an envelope with a phone number on it as the clue to the next round. Aiken orders a couple of snipers to take position on the overpass, under which the bus will go soon. As they approach the overpass, Danny notices the snipers and pulls Miles and Molly down to the floor of the bus, just as they open fire. He gets grazed in the shoulder as the snipers unload on the bus. The bus grinds to a halt and everyone runs outside. Miles ushers Molly out of the bus and blends with the others. Danny, handcuffed and wounded, is helpless to stop them. When Danny is freed, he comes out and punches Aiken in the face. He tells them that if Miles had died, everyone on the bus would have been blown up. Hank shows up, while Danny gets his wound treated. Danny is upset that he was so close to Molly and couldn't help her. Hank consoles him, telling him that he has located the man who helped Miles, Anthony DeLusso. He has his location and they will go find him. Round 8 begins. Santiago offers his assistance to Danny. Danny dials the number on the envelope. Miles reveals there are 5 numbers inside. 4 of them are for cell phones wired to bombs in different locations. Only one will disarm them all. The others will trigger explosions. If Danny doesn't dial within 1 minute, all will detonate. Danny and Santiago decipher the numbers as codes and begin texting them. With time running out, Danny randomly selects one. Miles answers, confirming it's wrong. Round 9 begins. Danny learns that Streetcar 907's brakes are disabled and the radio is out. His mission is to halt the streetcar before it wreaks havoc. Danny and Santiago rush to intercept it. Santiago attempts to contact the dot, but faces delays. Danny suggests the best way to stop it would be to shut down its power. Meanwhile, Hank and his team ready themselves to raid DeLusso's apartment. However, DeLusso catches wind of their plan and flees. Hank and another officer pursue DeLusso through the streets on foot. In Streetcar 907, the driver realizes the brakes are out and the radio's dead. He attempts to stop the car to no avail. Danny swerves his car in front of the streetcar to slow it down. Climbing atop, he tries to disable its power from the roof, but it proves futile. Returning to his car, Danny speeds toward a nearby power transformer. He and Santiago leap out just before the car smashes into it, cutting electricity to the neighborhood. The streetcar, now powerless, slows, though not enough. Danny and Santiago race alongside, clearing the path until it halts. Round 10 and 11. Miles calls Danny, who jokes that it's becoming too easy. Miles reveals that round 10 was him and Hank apprehending DeLusso. Round 11 involves taking Danny's best friend, Hank. Worried, Danny attempts to call Hank, but it continuously goes to voicemail. In a welding factory, Hank cautiously navigates, weapon drawn, in search of DeLusso. He finds himself at gunpoint. DeLusso mocks him, claiming Miles always anticipates such scenarios. The mine detonates, tragically claiming both Hank and DeLusso's lives. Aiken approaches him, revealing that some time ago, Miles pilfered 3 stingers from the military. Though tracked to Pakistan, Aiken lost Miles during the exchange. Days later, one of the stolen stingers downed a plane in Islamabad. Aiken shows Danny a yellow toy car salvaged from the wreckage, a poignant reminder of the lives Miles has harmed and will continue to endanger. He vows to assist Danny in locating Molly. Round 12 begins. Miles calls Danny, informing him that in a few minutes, it will mark exactly 1 year since Erica's death. Danny must locate Molly, who has a bomb attached to her chest, with only Danny's fingerprint able to disarm it. Miles instructs Danny to visit Erica's tombstone to express remorse. He abruptly ends the call. Realizing Miles means Erica's grave, Danny, Santiago, and Aiken hasten to the cemetery. Chuck Jansen, another detective, calls Danny, noting discrepancies. All the numbers in the envelope were for cell phones linked to the streetcar. Additionally, there was a camera in the elevator shaft, implying Willie's death was intentional. Danny grasps that Willie was meant to die and queries Aiken. Aiken connects the dots, realizing it's about money. He orders Santiago to gather information on Willie DeMaine. Meanwhile, Miles, dressed as a security guard, uses Willie's card to gain entrance to the mint. He uses a false name to sign in. He follows another security guard as they're led to the safe. The money there is over $100 million. Having killed all the other guards, Miles dumps the money down into the sewer. Aiken instructs Santiago to secure the mint while he and Danny pursue Molly. Aiken notes only emergency vehicles have access. Danny recalls his earlier hijacking of a fire truck. He abruptly turns the car around, heading back to the mint. Emerging from the sewer near the Hotel Monteleone, Miles spots the fire truck and devises a plan. He utilizes the hose to siphon water and money from the sewer into the truck. Danny informs Aiken that Molly isn't at the cemetery, but rather at the hospital, where she works as a nurse. Aiken promptly contacts hospital security. At the hospital, Miles uses an explosion as a diversion and heads into the hospital. Inside, He forces Molly to help him wheel the soaking wet money up to the top of the hospital, to the helipad. He kills 2 hospital guards in the process. They head for the medevac chopper. He tells her to take them up. Danny and Aiken rush into the hospital as Molly attempts to delay Miles, buying them precious time. Amidst gunfire, Aiken is wounded. Danny seizes the opportunity, leaping and grappling onto the chopper. A fierce struggle ensues between Danny and Miles inside the chopper, while Molly maneuvers it to aid Danny. However, gunfire damages the engine, causing the chopper to spiral out of control. With seconds ticking away, Miles activates the touch phone bomb. Despite his injuries, Danny subdues Miles before he and Molly leap from the chopper into a terrace pool. As the bomb detonates, Miles meets his demise. Aiken, relieved, discards his yellow toy car. Danny and Molly slowly and painfully trudge downstairs, while Danny starts to tell Molly about the house while credits roll. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more interesting movie recaps.